Welcome back to the 13th Destiny Podcast. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is when you're listening to this. And tonight I'm going to have a non-guest show. I am currently traveling to California, across the country by car to stop and see a few things, and then I'm supposed to be in California on November the 2nd to check into my hotel there and be filming on the film project that I'm working with the Magnum Caliber Films company that I have as well. And that's, of course, Mara the Vampire Princess, if you haven't heard about that. But anyway, moving on about what's been going on today on the travels. And I didn't stop anywhere today. And just a real quick thing, I want to give a shout out to one of my listeners who I happen to know listens to the podcast, Dylan Wayne Shepard. Just wanted to tell you thank you very much for listening to the podcast, and also for telling other people about the podcast as well. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, you made the podcast tonight. Imagine that. So anyway, today was just kind of a short travel day. Decided I wasn't going to do too much today. Pretty exhausted from a private party we had last night at the hotel in Bowling Green. A few friends were invited, and this was one of those things where I asked no one to take any pictures or do anything because it was just private and kind of just getting everything ready to leave. And everyone apparently followed instructions, I guess. Haven't seen anything that I shouldn't have seen, let's put it that way. So that's a good thing. Not that anything bad was really going on. It's just it was just one of those things where we just, despite being in the public and doing everything that I do, there's occasions that we'd like to have some privacy. And for the most part, I've been able to balance that pretty well. So anyway, today, as I said, was a travel day. And I left Bowling Green probably about, 10 o'clock, somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock this morning. Finally got gone from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and on the road. And Poplar Bluff, Missouri was one of the stops on my way. I'm staying at a Holiday Inn that I stayed at the last time I went to California, but I stayed there on my way back. It's in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, if you've never been here. It's a pretty nice little town, very friendly people for the most part. I haven't really run into anything that would indicate, I'm sure there's always problems. There's in my town too, but for the most part, everyone has been very friendly here, and they were the last time I was here, no problem. So I kind of like towns like that. Enjoy that a lot, especially when you can come in and out of the hotel and no one really pays any attention to who you are. That's always a good thing. Not to saying that's a bad thing in my hometown, but it's just, there's people aware of who you are, and it's just, that's not a bad thing because I am in the public, but, it's kind of fun sometimes when you're not noticed too. But anyway, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just relaxing and deciding to do the podcast. I probably am going to maybe make a visit to some place here tomorrow. And if you don't know what else I do outside of the Magnum's Models, the Magnum Caliber Films, and the 13th Destiny Podcast, these are all things that belong to me that I'm in charge of. I also do I write up things on TripAdvisor under the Magnum 1968 there. I don't think I've ever written anything up on this hotel. I'll have to go back and look. I've written up on several restaurants that I've been to, and you may have heard on my previous, I've always had really good experiences traveling across the country with the servers, and never really had a problem there. So that's a good thing too. But I do occasionally write up my experiences on Magnum 1968 on TripAdvisor, so that's another thing that I have. And yes, I was hoping to have guests on before I decided to do another podcast, but then one of my listeners said, hey, why don't you talk about the things that you're doing, things that you're associated with, and part of your travels. And I go to a lot of museums, parks, other things when I'm traveling sometimes, and I will probably give some write-ups and maybe some talk on that too, maybe tomorrow, depending on what I do between here and Fort Smith, Arkansas. So my next stop will be Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I have been there, and I have visited a few things there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to look up to be sure, but I believe the U.S. Marshals Museum is open now, so I will probably make maybe a trip there, and probably a few other places, and to see what else. And I don't know, I'll probably stop here. I think there's at least one location here I may want to check out before I get completely on the road tomorrow. So that's what's going on, and let's see, I'm trying to think. I'm having a pretty good time so far. Today's travel was pretty easy considering yesterday. I got lucky that I didn't leave yesterday with all the rain that came through in some areas that I'm traveling through, including there was some rain in Bowling Green too, but I don't think it was really all that bad. Although most of it I was inside the hotel, so I think maybe that's the reason I didn't think it was that bad. But as far as on the road today, it was awesome. Not too bad. There was some construction in Kentucky that was kind of slow in a few places. But once I got out of Kentucky, the drive through the rest of the area and into Missouri was just awesome. It was just a beautiful drive. Not too hot, not too cold. Pretty good weather. Pretty good standard fall weather, and so that's good. Let's see. So I hope you'll continue listening to the podcast, and I am going to have some more stuff tomorrow, and hopefully it may be a longer show. I'm just talking tonight on. Oh, I do have something that I was going to tell you about. Well, I don't know if I want to tell you yet. Maybe I'll tell you about it later. But someone did tell me some other stuff about the place that I used to work. That I had talked about it being some kind of paranormal activity, and I was given some more information from someone who worked in the building as well, and I had totally forgotten about that information, but I'll kind of like run that with something else on another show, maybe when I'm doing more related to that. Right now, this is more of the travel show kind of thing that's going on and what I'm doing. And I am traveling out to, as I said, to San Diego, California to do filming on the vampire movie. But my co-host, Daniel Long on the West Coast, is also in that film, as I had mentioned on a previous podcast. So that's going to be good to be out there working with her. And we may be able to all get on the show at the same time and do something. So that would be really, really fun. Because it would be the first time I've been able to get one of my co-hosts on the show. As you may well know, the ones that are from Bowling Green know that Lisa Hank Williams is the co-host in the regional area for the Bowling Green, Kentucky area. But Daniel Long is certainly my West Coast co-host, and it should be very interesting traveling out there and doing the film with her. And we've got a couple of private locations that we're going to be using. I may have mentioned that before. So getting one of my co-hosts on would be awesome. So Lisa's awesome in Bowling Green. She's also working to get on a very good and well-known paranormal guest that she is associated with. So that would be cool too. So that's what's going on. So we got a lot of stuff going on. But I was committed to getting this film work out of the way. And of course we have a Kickstarter also currently going on. To raise additional funds for the film, to try to make the film even better. But this had been pre-planned, and so anyway, since I had the time, since I no longer am working for anyone except for myself, I'm able to take the travel time and take the time in California and not be stressed over getting the footage done and then getting stressed over getting back. So that's going to be a lot of fun being able to do it that way. Something that I've never been able to experience until recent history. So anyway, that's the update on what's going on with me. I hope all of you are having a great night, and our listeners are growing. And again, I appreciate you, Dylan, for doing what you're doing and telling people, and some other people that are listening to the podcast, like my friend Don. He's listening to the podcast. I'm aware that he has listened to the episodes. See, so we got some people out there that I'm aware of because their friends are listening, and then I have some people I have no idea who the listeners are, and but I do appreciate the fact that you are listening. I would like to increase the female percentage. On most of my things, it's usually a lot higher. On this one, it seems like the podcast so far, we have a larger male audience, but I'm sure that will change over a period of time. Hopefully, with my female co-hosts when they're on, that will maybe make a difference. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But it's not too bad. We've got about 11% right now, and so it's a decent, but obviously the male percentage listening is a lot higher. I would like to have kind of a balance if I can, and look forward to trying to get that done. So that's, I don't know, it's just one of my goals. I kind of like to, no offense to anybody that's listening, by the way. I just like to have a balance on things that I'm doing. And sometimes my female followers and stuff are a little higher on the other stuff I do. But yeah, the podcast seems to have, so far, has been the opposite. So we'll just keep seeing how that goes, and we'll go along, and we'll continue to get this better and better. And as I said, I'm going to do some travel podcasting things and places I go on this. Ironically, a female listener is actually the one that suggested this, to do it this way. So maybe that's a good thing, since it did come from a female listener. So that's we'll see how that goes. We'll see how this goes as I travel across the country. And like I said, tonight I'm in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and by the time you hear this, I'll probably be either leaving or somewhat on the way across the country to the Fort Smith, Arkansas area. And then I'm going to be on to Bridgeport, Texas for a couple of days, seeing one of my former cover girls and her family, as I may have mentioned before. And so we're just got a lot of stuff going on. But like I said, since I don't have to be in San Diego until the 2nd of November to check in, I thought I would take some time, see a little bit more of the country, see a few things, and talk about them according to, as I said, one of my female listeners actually said that would be a good thing to do. So hope you're having a great night in the 13th Destiny podcast world, wherever you're at. And thank you for listening. This is James Magnum Cook, and you've been listening to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum. And God bless all of you, and may you have a great week. All right, now let's see how it sounds on the...